Hey everybody, it's John Carlos and I am here with a look at the new NECA figure of the Pale Man from Pans Labyrinth. This is the second of the Guillermo del Toro signature collection figures. It's got a very nice little box with a little photo on the inside here. And yeah, let's dive right on in. It's fun that the figure is packaged in the seated position in the chair, because when we first see the Pale Man, he is seated in a chair in the movie. And like the movie, he gets up from the chair and, wakes up, yada, yada, yada. And we get to articulate his legs and get him standing. He's got pretty interesting articulation. He's got like the single swiveling knee joint, and then I think it's a ball joint for the ankle. And then we get the same kind of joint for the waist, for the hips. But we get the double joint at the elbows, and that's fun because the double joint will allow you to get his hands up to his head and do the whole eyeball thing. We get two neck joints, one at the base of the neck and one at the top where it meets the skull. And then we get two mid-torsos, one here and one there, so that's fun. Also, we have the hinge and swivel at the wrist, and they go side to side to better articulate his hands into the position that we're all kind of familiar with, which we'll get to in a moment. But here we go. There he is there. I love that they included the chair, because they very easily could have just not made it just a Pale Man figure, but this really does add a little more bang for your buck, so I think that's neat. We'll get to that in a moment. But first, let's just discuss this figure, because it's a simple paint job, but not a simple sculpt. A very, very, very good sculpt. But we can just see that the paint, even though it's simple, there's lots of little crevices for it to kind of highlight the sculpt, and that could have gone awry if it was done too hastily and too heavy, or maybe, a little too light. So they did really kind of capture the paleness of him, but also, some of the pink qualities. He's not too white, he's not too pink. The lighting in the camera really does kind of highlight the whiteness of him. But when you do see this in person, there are considerable kind of fleshy pink tones to him, and I think NECA has done a great job with that. Simple color scheme, but very expertly applied, I think, for the medium that they're working in, which is action figure form. This is pretty good paint for an action figure. Let's just get a closer look at the back of him, just so you can see his little leg wrinkles and his butt flaps, and the backs of his wrists, his little flobbity skin at his legs. Really good sculpt on the shoulder blades too here. I really, really dig that. The head is really something worth noting. Let's just go for a closer look there. His little sockets look pretty good, but I love the sculpt of the mouth. I think the teeth in particular have been very well done. Let's see if I can get in for an even closer look. And you can see the sculpt of the teeth there, just the sinisterness of his mouth and all the little folds hanging down, the sculpt of the ears. Really, really, really good sculpt on NECA's part, so I'm really happy about that. Now, one thing we just absolutely got to do with this figure is do the little eyeball thing. So let me get his feet all stabilized. There we go. So you get the double joints at the wrist, and not at the wrist, at the elbow, which really does help get his hands up. A single elbow joint would not have achieved that. And then you can articulate the hands side to side, or at least the right one. This left one goes up and down, but here, if we just go ahead and kind of bring that up, we can get it pretty close. Not all the way, but there is a swivel at the elbow joint. Hey, there we go. Look at that. That's pretty damn good. Like, that's a good range of what I'm trying to get with this figure. I think it'd be nice if the left wrist also had the side to side and not up and down, because I can't get them exact, but hey, that's pretty close. That's pretty gosh darn close. I'm happy with that. So yeah, I think it looks pretty awesome. Now the sculpt on the hands is great. The palms of the hands have a lot of nice detail, even just like the little wrinkling between each finger. The nails look good, but the eyeballs on there, very well painted eyeballs. You totally get the effect there. So props to NECA for nailing that, because this is pretty much how I think everyone's going to display it, and you need those hands and those eyeballs to be painted really well. He comes with a few accessories, including this little plate with the eyeballs on it, which is neat, I guess, but it'd be, you know, if you don't have a table to put them on, they're just going to be like, I don't know, sitting on the ground. He's not going to be holding them in his hand if the eyeballs are already in his hand. It's neat they included it, but without the table, I don't know what exactly you can do with it. Now, we also get his chair, which has a lot of nice details within the sculpt of it. I mean, look at the wooden sculpt surface and contrasted with like the leathery seat surface. That's good work right there. So the design team did a great job with that, and the paint really does highlight all the details of this really quality sculpt. Not just the details of the design, but also the wood surface. The darker brown, the lighter tans all really do highlight that. So great work from the NECA team on this. This is a fun accessory. I'm really glad they included it. Even just some of the dark spots on like the leather parts, so it's not just like a muted kind of burgundy red. Now, one thing I'm kind of stupid for not noticing is that the hands obviously can hinge side to side on this right hand, but also since the hands swivel and since the elbow can swivel, now it's up and down. So that means the hands can get closer to his head like I thought, but I can also get him to put his hand up like when he's chasing Ofelia down the hallway, and we can get that whole effect. So that's pretty cool. So yeah, I'm a little slow on that one. But yeah, I love the fact that you can swivel the arm and the wrist to get the wrist into the ideal positions. That's great. Everything about this figure rocks. It's such a great sculpt. I love Pans Labyrinth. I think it's one of Guillermo del Toro's best movies ever, and the fact that we even have this figure at all is, I don't want to say miraculous, but like, who would have thunk it? You know what I mean? And I think it's awesome that NECA made the effort to make this with such a great sculpt. The articulation on this is really sturdy. Everything moves well, but it also holds well. Like, nothing's stiff out of the box. I didn't have to like blow dry any of the joints. Man, that looks cool. All right, this is a great figure. The chair's a nice inclusion. Paint job is really solid. I love his dirty little toes. It's so creepy. His whole body's creepy. This is just great. If you're a fan of Pans Labyrinth, I genuinely can't imagine you being disappointed by this figure. I guess if I had to look for something to be disappointed by or something to complain about, I guess it would be kind of cool if the figure came with some fairies and like a pair of grip hands so he can grip and be posed like eating the fairies. But the Ofelia figure coming out soon comes with fairies, so they will be out there. Lastly, one of the fun things about this figure's articulation, in particular the multiple torso joints and just the complete mobility of the arms, is that you can put the figure into some pretty fun little loungy positions on the chair if you really want to make him, you know, all spread eagle and foxy here. That's pretty fun. Thanks for watching, everybody. And if you want, you can follow me on Instagram and Facebook and all of that stuff.